Welcome to the Alert Factor. I'm Nancy Alert, and I am the Alert in Alert Factor. I am a real estate broker and an investment coach. I have 27 years experience in selling real estate and investing in the DC metro area. I'm licensed in Maryland, Virginia, and DC. And this show, The Alert Factor, is where everything real estate meets. We talk about real estate financing, real estate landscaping, sexy beaches. We talk about buying your first home, being a starting investment, seasoned investor, looking for your second home, any and everything real estate. That's what we discuss here at the Alert Factor. And we meet every Wednesday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are live. So today, I am going to be talking about several things, and I have a guest and everything, but I just wanted to give you our little information ahead of time. So remember, you can send us your questions about whatever question you have about real estate, inbox me, and I'll be happy to answer your question online. So if you want to know about investing, you want to know about 1031 exchanges, we're going to have a show about that pretty soon. You want to know about buying property abroad, overseas, Dubai. We're going to be talking about buying in Curacao next week. So whatever question you have about real estate, just inbox me and I'll be happy to answer them online. You can reach me at Nancy Alert on Instagram or Nancy Alert on Facebook. If you go to LinkedIn, I am Nancy Alert there. I'm Nancy Alert everywhere. So now we're about to get on in with the show. Today, a lot of times people are always asking, is it a good time to buy? When is a good time to buy? And I always say it's always a good time to buy. It depends on, because you shift on how you're buying in whatever specific time and market it is. So it's always a good time to buy. We're going to talk a little bit about timing in the market. We're going to talk a little bit about staging, yes or no, virtual or actual. We're going to talk about dare to compare. Alexandria City versus Prince George's County. What's the value? Why do you want to live on either side of the Potomac River? So before we get too far into it, I would like to introduce you to my guest today, Miss Kathy Valdivias Bombush. You are muted. Are you speaking?
Yes, I am.
All right. So,
Sorry about
welcome
that.
to the show. Welcome,
Thank
Kathy.
you. Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about you, and you're a real estate agent, what you do, how long you've been doing it.
Yes, I am Kathy Bompish. I have been in real estate for about 22 years now, I think. And I specialize mostly in residential real estate, and I work with mostly people that are buying their first home, as well as people that are moving out of their home and transitioning to retirement, overseas, that sort of thing. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, all right. So, a couple of things. Because being a realtor for 22 years, people are always asking, is it a good time to buy? Is it
Mhm.
a good time to buy? And so, how do you answer that question when a potential client or even friends and colleagues ask, is it a good time to buy?
I always answer that question with another question. And my first question is, well, what do you think? Tell me about what you know. I mean, honestly, it really, I tell them it depends. I mean, it's always, like you said, it's always a good time to buy. There's differences like interest rates and prices are going up and demand and supply and all of that. But what I usually end up telling people is that it's kind of an individual thing. And we just sort of sit down and look at what their budget is, what they can afford, what they would like, that sort of thing, and just kind of determine individually. But in the end, it's always a good time to buy.
Right. I mean, because when people ask me that, is it a good time to buy or sell? And I'm always saying, look, there are advantages in each market,
Mm-hmm.
right? There are advantages in each market because if you're looking at, oh, the interest rates are so high, then usually the prices are coming down when the interest rates are high up, right?
Usually.
Usually the
Except for
prices are
now.
usually the prices are coming down or at least stabilizing and not going up like 10% every day or every week.
Mhm.
And also, when you're buying, I like to tell people, okay, so if you're buying in a market where the prices are so high, what am I doing? So okay, your interest rate may be a little lower. So when the market change, it's gonna even out anyway. So buy the house now because the price may change later, and you don't know which direction it's gonna go in, right? If you're concerned about the interest rate, then buy down the interest rate or do an arm or something like that. So you get in now because
Mhm.
you get in now at the price where you still start to build equity and
Right.
more value in your property, right? So the
Yeah.
sooner you get it, the sooner you'll start to build equity. Yes?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
And
then
I mean, in reality, some people have been priced out, and that's just the reality right now. But and because interest rates are right around the high sixes,
mm,
around seven.
mm,
Different for veterans, it's lower for veterans, but there are some people that are priced out. But people that are sitting and waiting because they think that the prices are going to crash, that's not going to happen. And the reason for that is because demand is still so high. We still have only half the houses that are on the market right now than there should be this time of year, and this has been a trend for the last 3 years
mm,
that people are just kind of staying put. And one of the reasons for that, of course, is, as you know, is that the interest rates were so low a couple of years ago. There's no, unless people really have to move, there's no incentive to sell when their
right,
interest rates are so low
because you
because,
bought at the top of the
yeah.
market.
And
Right.
so, you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to buy as much house as
Mm.
you could 2 and 3 years ago. It's just not going to be possible. So that's why a lot of people aren't selling. They're staying put where they are because they like those low payments, right?
Interest rates, right? Because if they
Yeah.
sell now, it's not like Europe. You could take your mortgage with you. I mean, your
Yeah.
interest rate, you
Yeah.
can't take it with you. You have to get what we have right now, which is 5 and 6 and what have you. So, with that said, because a couple of years ago, the interest rates were very, very low, and then now they're high. Well, people are saying they're high. I'm saying they're average because when I bought my first place, it was 10%. So I'm like, you know, it's average right now. So the question is, because some people are staying put, a lot of people are still buying, but some people are staying put because of the interest rates, and some people are not jumping into the market to buy because
Mhm.
of the interest rate. Yet they're willing to spend $3,100 to rent a 1 bedroom when
Mhm.
you can buy a whole house. I'm just saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I honestly think that it boils down to the prices, because I was just showing rental the other day that was $3,500. It was a beautiful house, 4 bedrooms, 3 levels, huge basement actually, and the price of that was 3,500. And yeah, you can buy a lot of house for $3,500 a month. Um, but I mean, you can buy and have a mortgage of $3,500 a month, but at 7% interest, though, that turns into about 350,000. Whereas the price of this particular house, like it used to be, you could buy for less. Your payment would be less than what your rent would be, but you could not buy that house unless you had a very large down payment. you couldn't buy that house and pay $3,500 for that house. And
Yeah,
that's
but
the
you can
challenge.
buy a condo, the condos that they're renting for $2,000, $3,000 a month.
Mhm.
You could buy a condo for that price and have ownership, right?
Yeah, but
So
when you have somebody that has a family, that
no,
can't
no,
live in
I'm
a
talking
condo,
about,
one bedroom
okay,
condo.
so let's talk about apples to apples.
Mhm.
So if you don't have a family if you're renting a one bedroom condo, I'm just saying,
Oh, but
right?
I was talking about the house.
Right. But so I'm saying the people that right now, because the rental rates are astronomical, it's
Mhm.
gone up significantly, right? So yay to those investors, good for you, right? You
Mhm.
really getting your return on your money. But the renters is what I'm saying. Why are they spending $3,000 and $2,500 on a one bedroom when you can probably buy that one bedroom and pay the same, if not less, but pay the same amount? Why would you not jump in? And it's not even down payment, because we know there's so many
Yeah.
different loan programs, right? That you can get as a first time home buyer or just as a buyer right
Mhm.
now. So what would you recommend if you had somebody that have, like, I have this client, he has 800 plus credit score, right?
Mhm.
Makes $50,000 a month. Why
Mhm.
are you renting?
I
No,
don't.
no, that would be a question. Why are you renting, right? If it's I'm renting where I live so I can move about, but I have investment properties, then that's a good strategy, right? But if you're
Mhm.
renting because you're just renting,
I think some people are just either scared to make that move, scared to commit to that because they think that they'll lose money right away, and
mhm,
they don't have that mentality of buy and hold. They
mhm,
don't. I think what turns a lot of people off is like they hear nightmare stories about being a landlord, toilets backing up and roof caving in and not having enough money for repairs, right? And there's also the mindset that, well, I'm going to be leaving this area, have no other ties to this area. Why would I still own a house here? And then there's other people that just really don't know how owning can benefit them. So
mhm.
I think that it's just a matter of kind of changing that mindset.
Yeah, and the education, right?
Hmm.
Because if you understood that it doesn't matter if you're not going to come back here, you have that property manager. So a lot of
Hmm.
times owners of properties focus on the wrong things. That's why they're like, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to have to deal with
Hmm.
change light bulbs and get a call in the night. Well, you shouldn't have to deal with that. That's what property managers are for, right?
Hmm.
That's what property managers are for. You hire a property manager, pay them the 9 or 10% that they're asking,
Hmm.
and let them do all the work and the worrying, and you just collect your checks and go to sleep at night. And having something like that where you get a check every month, I think it's if you can do it, it's something that you should do, because that way you're not depending on Social Security later on, that may or may not be there, or whatever pension that may or may not be there, because all these companies
Hmm.
too big to fail are actually failing. They're too big to fail, but they're failing, right? And they're taking all your money with them,
Yeah.
right? So what do you do? So I think the thing with being a landlord is stop thinking about, I don't want to be a landlord, I don't want to deal with the roof and all of that. These are just excuses, because if your roof fell in, then you call your insurance company and
Right.
let them handle it, right? You
Mhm.
don't have to pay for that. So boom, I just solved that problem for you, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
I don't
there's a
want
lot of definitely a lot of fear surrounding it. I mean, I know that's what kept me out for a long time, was the fear of dealing with all that because I didn't really understand that all of those resources were available. So it's just a matter of getting information out to people, the right education, and showing them how this can build wealth for them and from not only now but in the future for their
Right.
families to be passed down, that sort of thing. And you know not everybody aspires to be a millionaire, or can even
Right.
be a billionaire or anything like that, but you know just I don't know anyone that is a millionaire that does not own real estate in some way.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. That is the point right there, Kathy Baumbush,
mhm,
right? I truly don't know any millionaire that does not own any real estate.
right.
Real estate is part of that. And like you said, whatever your millionaire lifestyle look like, right? Because your
Mhm,
millionaire lifestyle might just be, I'm happy making $50,000 a year. Or
right.
I'm happy, I
Yeah.
could do, I'm happy making $100,000 a year, or whatever your millionaire, because it doesn't have to be, I want to make a million. Everybody's not, like you said, striving for that. They want their piece of happiness, and it looks different for everyone,
Mhm,
right?
yeah.
So, but it should include real estate.
I think so too. But we're biased, so you know.
I'm just saying, it should include some sort of real estate, yes?
Yes.
So, I've always had this question asking me, well, what's the difference between living in Alexandria, Virginia, Alexandria City, or even Fairfax County in Alexandria, right?
Mhm.
Versus living in Prince George's County, not PG County,
Uh,
but Prince George's
yeah.
County in Maryland, right? And everybody wants to know, well, why, I want this, I want, what's the price? Why is everything so different? Blah, blah, blah. Well, a couple of years ago, I did a dare to compare little thing with buying a house in Alexandria, Virginia versus
Mhm.
buying a house in Fort Washington, Maryland, which is in Prince George's County, and to see what the difference is, what you get, and all that kind of stuff. And after we come back from the break, we're going to deep dive into that dare to
Okay.
compare. But before we go to the break, what I wanted to chat with you about is a little bit is about how you feel about staging versus non-staging, virtual staging versus actual furniture in the
Okay. Yeah.
property.
Mhm.
Right. What are your thoughts on that?
So everybody, I think, understands that staging definitely works, and it enhances the value of a property in buyers' minds and all of that. And of
And it
course,
also helps those that have no vision, cannot see where to
right,
put a furniture. Yeah.
right. That's me because I have no vision of that whatsoever. After all these years,
Oh,
I
really?
just have no clue where to put things. And
Mhm.
so I just don't have that like designer's eye, right? Um, but and because nowadays it's 97% people start looking for a house online, the first thing they're going to see is photos. And this especially came during the pandemic, that was how people bought houses, and
Mhm.
even sight unseen sometimes.
Right.
But anyway, so the first thing they're going to see is the photos, and either real furniture or virtual
Right.
staging. That's the first thing that they're going to see. And so obviously there's advantages and disadvantages to both. um, the advantage of real staging is that not only do you have that appeal in the photos, but you also have that appeal in person.
Right. When you walk into the property.
Right. You see the same thing that you saw in the
Mhm.
photos. And
Right.
so that's definitely helpful with the and but in-person staging, real staging is a lot more expensive in that you're basically paying for a markup on the rental of that
Of
furniture,
the
right?
furniture, right? And you're paying
So
for the fact that,
and the
okay,
design, yeah.
but the thing is, though everything starts online, like you said, right?
Mhm.
And you see the virtual, because I like to put the virtual stage photo next to the um vacant.
Empty, yes.
Right, the empty, thank you, the empty room. So you
Mhm.
can see the empty room and you see how they stage this and you see this online. But
Mhm.
there's something to be said when you actually walk in to the property,
Yes.
right? And you see, oh, the furniture is like this. Oh, I could actually turn it that way or this way. I
Mhm.
think it does help. It does cost more, but I think it does help with the actual viewing and experience of
Mhm.
showing that property. But I also think that it depends on the type of property, right?
Mhm.
Because I think a virtual staging works perfectly for a 1 bedroom condo, 2 bedroom condo, a little property. But
Mhm.
if you have a $5 million property, I
Well,
think you need
there's
some
no
real
question.
furniture up in there, right?
Yeah, there's no question. You have to stage something like that for sure.
You need some real furniture up in there so
Mhm.
people can go in and sit and like, oh, this is my life and lean back. This is how I'm living.
Mhm.
I'm feeling it, right? Because and then those rooms and ceilings are high and you get the real experience,
It's
right?
definitely expected at that level. You can't skimp on that at all. And that's a whole other different level that
Exactly, right. Yeah,
from the
you see
average
some
house that you would be staging. And
right.
you don't have to with the average home, which right now is around, I guess we're around 550 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with You don't have to stage like every room, like you mentioned. Definitely the first room that you walk into, whether it be the den or the family
Yes.
room or whatever, definitely that one should be staged. And then you might there's not a lot to do in the kitchen. You might just put a couple of little vignettes in there, and but not all of the bedrooms. Maybe one bedroom, maybe one. The obvious one would be the
The
main bedroom,
primary suite. Yeah.
right? And so those strategically placed stagings, and then just have some very minor stuff in the rest of the bedrooms, or like a family room or something like that,
Mm.
where you can sort of get the feel for the house. And it was a perfect example. I was showing some clients some properties down in Waldorf,
Mm.
and the two properties that I showed them were in the same neighborhood, and one was actually occupied by the seller, and the other one was staged.
Mm.
And the one that was occupied by the seller already had most of the stuff moved out, so that I'm sorry, the one that was staged was empty, and some of the bedrooms had not
Mm.
been staged, and so those bedrooms were empty. Whereas the home that was occupied by the seller, all of those rooms
Right.
had furniture,
Mhm.
and both looked nice. Both showed fairly very well. The stage one a little better because it was more updated.
Right.
However, one thing to be noted is that when the clients walked into one of the bedrooms, she said this room looks smaller than the other one because it was empty, right?
Right. Right.
And so and that's and but the husband looked online and said, no, it's exactly the same measurement. And she said, how strange that is. And that drives home the point that rooms always look smaller when they're empty.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be talking about Dare to Compare.
Okay.
All right.
Delicioso, 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 delicioso.
V Plus Energy. With 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins, you no longer have to sacrifice your health for energy. Drink V Plus. Healthy energy. No sacrifice.
It tastes good.
Give me more. We about to blow. Give me more. Give me more. We got one life, so we not gon' waste it. Live a large life, the rich and the famous. Oh, 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 oh.
ATL runs on V Plus Energy. We love our home and our people. We at V Plus made it our mission to provide healthy energy to our city, so that's what we did, and you all love it. 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins, it's healthy, tasty energy. But don't just take my word. Listen for yourself.
Man, I tried a lot of energy drinks. Tastes good. That's one of the biggest things. Refreshing and it's not too strong. So I like it, man.
People, it's Alexander Aperture, the Commercial King, and check this out, man. We're here with V Plus Energy. Look, try to get your energy up. You out here at a competition like this, man. Field day, you're gonna need something to get a little extra kick. Make sure you get that V Plus Energy.
Hey, what's up? It's Slade Johnson Russian, and we are checking in with the V Plus Energy drink. This drink is amazing. I love that it don't give you the jitters. If you haven't tried it, please check it out. The drink is very good. I like the peach flavor. And so far, I'm trying to see if the energy kicks in.
I guess that energy kicked in. Now it's time to get you some. Visit drinkvplus.com.
Today we're taking a little vacation on the west end of St. Croix, visiting a seaside restaurant called the Beachside Cafe here at Sandcastles on the Beach.
The atmosphere is just wonderful.
You just feel very welcome when you're here.
Hi! I'd like to introduce Chris and Ted, who are the owners of Beachside Cafe and also Sandcastles on the Beach. This is amazing!
Thank you.
Sandcastle on the Beach is quiet and friendly, relaxing.
I often entertain guests, and this is the one place I always try to bring people.
Tell us a little bit about the hotel.
Well, the hotel is a 25-room hotel. We have 10 different room types within that. We also have, of course, our greatest asset, the ocean out there, which our side of the island is very calm typically. So it's the best swimming beach and also great for snorkeling.
And just walking, doing a nice walking beach tour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best beach access is right here, so we love them.
And we're also fortunate we have just up the way Sandy Point National Park, and then Frederickstead Town is just a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're really fortunate to be in this perfect spot.
ICABA, ICABA, stands for the International Career and Business Alliance. And basically, it's really about building, activating relationships that grow wealth.
What is ACABA doing? ACABA is putting you in an environment where you can rub shoulders, you can actually talk to wealth creators, to entrepreneurs who may look like you, who may come from circumstances like you, who may come from an environment like your environment. And then once you go ahead and grab that baton, you might say, well, this is possible. This individual over here did it, and now I can do it. So ICABA is raising our level of vision, and they're doing a fantastic.
righty. We're back. You're watching and listening to The Alert Factor. I'm Nancy Allard, and we're here today with my guest, Kathy Baumbush, and we're talking everything real estate. You know, just a little reminder, you're able to post your listings, your homes for sale or rent or land on our website, the realestatemarketplace.global, realestatemarketplace.global, the realestatemarketplace.global. So you can list your properties there. Realtors, you can list your properties online. And again, if you have any questions regarding real estate that you would like us to answer for you online, just inbox me. You can message me on Messenger on Facebook. I'm Nancy Alert on Facebook. I'm also the Nancy Alert, THEE, Nancy Alert on Instagram. So we're back and we're talking, like as always, every Wednesday about real estate. So today, this topic that I wanted to discuss with you, Kathy, is dare to compare. Compare Old Town Alexandria with, let's say, National Harbor, Maryland, which is in Prince George's County. And we have those individuals that will not cross the river to save their lives. They will not cross the river. They will stay on either side. They stay on the Prince George's County side, or they're staying on the Virginia side. We're not moving. We're not leaving. But when we're talking about real estate and we're talking about how much you can get for your money, right? And where do you want to live? What are all the factors that you are calculating that will help you make the decision on where to buy this property? So I know if it's a family and you have children, school is one of them, right? You want to think about the school district. It's a good school. But, and I know this is another topic for another day probably, but I also think that parents place way too much on the school, and that's mainly because they want the school to do all the work with their kids, right? So if you, and I know you gotta work because you gotta have a roof over their head so they can then go to school, sleep at night and then go to school. However, if you are participating in your children's lives, in their school lives, helping them with the homework and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff, then you're not putting that whole load, that whole 100% load on the school. So then you're like, I can't live here because the school sucks. Well, because you want the school to do everything. I know you might have a different opinion on that, but tell me, what is your opinion on that?
We're getting into some dicey territory here.
I know, and especially for two people without children, right?
I mean, I don't fault people for wanting to find a good school. And I really don't have a lot of expertise to speak on that. But in general, I would say that DC area schools are pretty good. And you can go on to goodschools.org and check out what the scores are and all of that. And in the end, yeah, it is up to the kid a lot, but different schools vary for different reasons. And then there's also, at least in Virginia, I can't speak that well on Prince George's County because I don't know enough about it. But I know that there's also some really good programs in those schools. There's tech schools, there's some magnet schools and things like that people can.
Well, it is widely known that Prince George's County school system is not up to par. So one of the reasons I voted for MGM to come to Prince George's County, because I did place my vote and say yes, I went up there and told the politicians why they should say yes to MGM Casino Resort coming to Prince George's County. And it was because they are supposed to be giving money to the school system so that we can increase the number of qualified teachers, which you're reducing the number of students in each class so that you can get a better student teacher ratio so you can actually spend time and give the kids that need the attention they need. If you got 40 kids, you one teacher, you can't give that kind of attention, right? So I don't know where the money is going. I don't know if any money has been given, but what I do know is we still have work to do, which brings me to this topic that we're talking about, which is why, one of the reasons why people stay on that side of the river, the Virginia side, versus coming over to the Maryland, Prince George's County side, right? Because when we say Maryland, we're saying Prince George's County specific. We're not talking about any of the other counties. We're just speaking on, don't send me no hate mail. We're speaking on Prince George's County, okay? And I am speaking on it because I live in Prince George's County and because I'm a realtor in Prince George's County, so I know what I'm speaking about, okay? So here's the thing. You can get a huge house, right? In Prince George's County for less than you can get a small little tiny old house in Alexandria, Virginia. Other than other than the school, right? If you have school age children and that is of importance to you, then hey, do what you need to do. But all the money that you're gonna save and buying a big old house in Prince George's County, you could put a little of that towards a private school if that's that important. I'm just saying. So in Alexandria City right now, you can buy a 1-level brick, right? Rambler, all up in the $700,000. Got 3 bedrooms, maybe 1.5 bath. You can cross the river, go over to Prince George's County, Fort Washington to be specific, or Accokeek, and you can buy a brand new house, 4,000 square foot. Not the 1,200 square foot house in Alexandria for 700 something, and that was built in 1940. But a big old house, 2-car garage, finished basement for under $600,000. And you're just minutes to the bridge, to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge to cross over there. You're minutes to National Harbor. You're minutes to MGM. I'm saying if you had a choice, because I know you live in Virginia, if you had a choice and you got a brand new, beautiful home in a nice community in Prince George's County versus buying a 2-level Rambler, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath in Old Town Alexandria, what would you do and why?
You know, at this stage in my life, I honestly think I would probably stay in Virginia. But there's a lot of reasons why people would want to go ahead and move over to Maryland. It definitely is a line that's very clearly delineated, even though it's right across the bridge. Living in Maryland is a completely different experience than living in Northern Virginia.
It is.
And it's like it's almost like they're 2 foreign countries. You know what I mean? It's like you almost need a passport to cross over either one from either one to the other. You know, because I mean, Maryland is built differently than Northern Virginia.
The highways is not a lot of walkability.
Right. And so here's a couple of the differences. If we're talking near, you know, Alexandria, Woodrow Wilson Bridge, Prince George's County, near Fort Washington and
Woodrow
Accokeek,
Wilson Bridge.
that those 2 general areas. Here's a couple of differences. Number one, Alexandria is a lot older. Old Town Alexandria was built in the 1700s. It's extremely a lot older and it's a lot more expensive because of that. And then it's more tightly, densely packed. I think in the city of Alexandria, all of the city of Alexandria, there is some figure that's like 10 or 12,000 people per square mile in Alexandria. And so it's more dense, it has more density. Whereas Prince George's County, you get just a little bit south on 210 and you're in rural areas. You are in what people would refer to as the boondocks. And it's every time I go over there, it's always amazing to me how these neighborhoods are really in these rural areas. I just went through Piscataway the other day, and that's a little community that was founded in I want to say the 1700s, late 1700s or something like that. And it's so old, but then it's right there in these beautiful neighborhoods that have these large homes, like you said, that are in the 500s and 600s, and absolutely gorgeous houses. So that's one difference. Whereas there's a lot of walkability in specifically Old Town Alexandria and places like Delray and closer to the Potomac River, a lot of walkability there, a lot of potential there. And but once you get into Maryland, other than National Harbor, there's no walkability at all. There's bus services and things like that, but because it's generally a rural area, it's very car centric.
Yes, it is car centric, but almost everybody has a car, and I'm saying how car will travel. So yes, you have to drive to the grocery store as opposed to walking to the grocery store. But I mean, I'm just saying,
if you want, if your goal is to have a large house, and we know that in Northern Virginia, that goal is, if you're outside of the 700 price range, then that goal is really kind of unattainable at this point. I mean, in my neighborhood, I live in Springfield, there is a property that's on the golf course that is $795,000. And I thought, wow, that's a deal. That's a real steal right there. But the kitchen is tiny, right? So that's going to either be somebody renovating the property, or, which is more likely than not,
knocking the walls down and making it open.
Yeah,
but you say, if you're paying 700 and whatever thousand, should I not get a kitchen that I'm okay with to cook every day? Because I cook every day.
Yeah, and so that's not going to work for someone like that has a family that needs a large kitchen, and there's always going to be renovation involved. So whereas you could go over to Prince George's County and have your space,
beautiful space. You have land too, Kathy. You have land. You have the square footage in the house, and your close proximity. Your drive away from whatever you need to get to. So. My question still is, so you will stay in Virginia, and you don't care how big the house is, right? At this point in your life, you're staying in Virginia. So my question to the viewers is it the size of the home? Is it the distance from your job? Keeping in mind now that we're all working from home. So that whole I want a house close to my job is no longer necessary, because if you are driving, it's probably once a week, twice max that you're driving into your office.
Yes. And so, a lot of government workers are actually back in the office. So
really? Every day?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're looking for a house, and these are people that have no care about what the school district is because they don't have any school-age children, right? But the question is, should you always keep that in mind anyway when you're buying? Because we as realtors are always thinking resale, right?
Yes. And I think that that's important. If you have the luxury to think about things like that, it's important for resale that the school district is known for being, at least that the school district is not known for being less than desirable. Right. So if you are searching for a home, then that is definitely one of the things to consider, because as you know, school districts tend to sell properties as well.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors. You can definitely get more house, more land for the same price in Maryland than you can in Virginia. I mean, Virginia's got finite space. Prince George's County still has a lot of development.
We still got a lot of land. We still have a lot of land for you to come and tap into. So basically, you're okay in Virginia. You don't care how big the house is and the 10 acres in Prince George's County. You're staying in Virginia. me to the rest of the world, it would be, what is it that you're looking for, right? Are you looking for space? Because I don't necessarily need to see my neighbor every morning I come out in my driveway. But then again, I'm a condo girl. I prefer to live in a condo. I don't need all that yard space and all of that. But for you, for those of you that want a big house, a new house, and it'll cost you less than if you were living in Virginia, welcome to Prince George's County. Welcome to Maryland. Just give me a call. Just give me a call. Now, if you want to stay in Virginia and enjoy the walkability, though, Kathy, you can't walk to anything, so I don't even know what you're talking about walkability. But anyway,
I walked that whole trail last year.
I don't consider Springfield walkable. However, the prices in Springfield has just gone crazy.
Yes.
They have just lost their minds in what people are paying for an older home in Springfield, Virginia.
Yeah.
Apparently somebody went home and told somebody Springfield, Virginia is hot. And
that was me.
It was you.
I mean, I've lived here 25 years and yeah, you know, of course, when this neighborhood was built in the early up to the late 60s, this was the far reaches of the universe as far as DC was concerned. And this neighborhood was built when there was nothing but farms out here.
Right.
And it was built with state-of-the-art appliances and of that time and everything. And so, and quarter-acre lots and all of that was considered huge. And so for the most part, this particular neighborhood for the last 60 years has maintained its look. It's maintained its, I guess, stature, if you will, as a great neighborhood to raise families. And their schools, like they talk a lot about school pyramids here, where the pyramid being the elementary schools on the bottom, feeding into the middle school
to the
high school. And so this particular pyramid in the neighborhood that I live in, I'm actually in West Springfield.
It's a good pyramid.
Yes, always had a really good reputation. That one, Lake Braddock has a good one. Robinson, what's the other one over there? I can't remember.
The one that's on Braddock Road?
Yeah, I guess it's Fairfax High School. And then, well, there's one on Pickett, near Pickett. I think that's Robinson. And then Fairfax High School is further down on
What's the
Route 50.
one that movie was made out of?
That was T.C. Williams and
T.C.
Alexander.
Williams.
Yes, that was the football movie. So yeah, I mean, in general, honestly, I think the last time I looked at school rankings, Falls Church actually was really high up there. So it kind of goes between Falls Church and Fairfax, but generally, any school district in Northern Virginia, which includes Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax County, Fairfax City, and Falls Church, you really cannot. What's that?
And Alexandria City.
Yes, you really cannot go wrong with schools in Northern Virginia. They've got a solid, long-term reputation for being excellent schools. So almost everywhere that you go, you can't go wrong with that.
Well, so Alexandria School, Northern Virginia school systems are good. We are working on the school systems in Prince George's County. So I'm reaching out to the politicians because when I voted for them, that's what I said. What are you going to do about the school system? Because it impacts my life as a realtor. Because if the people, well, luckily I am licensed over there too. But if my clients decide they're not gonna buy in Maryland because they don't have money for private schools, right? And they want to be in a good school system and they move to Virginia. This is money that the county and the state is losing. So we're going to have to work on that. So for now, you're going to stay put in Virginia. I'm going to stay put at National Harbor and we'll all be good.
Right.
Yeah.
And now, we're talking about ratings of the schools being, because all of the schools around here can be ranked anywhere from like average to, to above average, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's a difference between a 10 in Virginia versus a 9 or an 8 in Prince George's County. So it's not like Prince George's County has terrible schools. You know, they are ranked lower overall in compare if you compare them to Northern Virginia.
Right.
But you have to really look at the individual schools themselves, right?
Right.
Because there are schools in Prince George's County that have a 9 and 10 rating, elementary schools, middle schools, you know, so it just really depends on where you're going.
Right. And then sometimes, even if it had an 8, you have to go see, why did they get that 8? What is the area? Is it with the teacher ratio? Is it with the actual education and delivering and receiving? What is it? So parents, you do have to do your part and do your research and do your part with helping with the homework so that it's not all on the teachers. But that's me. That's all I have to say on that soapbox about why I think that the whole burden shouldn't be on the school, and you should buy your big house where you want to buy a big house and help your kids with their education,
And
just as
you know,
much as the school is.
there are really great schools. There's the Academy of Health Sciences in Prince George's County. There's the College Park Academy. You know, but those are those.
Yeah, but those College Park Academy. Is that Prince George's County? That's
Yes, they're public charter schools. So they're not, you know, they're public schools, but they're charter schools. So you have to, I guess there's an application process and things like that. They are available, but they do need to do better with the public schools in PG County overall.
So then work with your local politicians, and so you can bring up the school system in Prince George's County, because it's a beautiful state of Maryland is, and Prince George's County is a gorgeous with all the development, lots of development. We got lots of land, so you want to buy and build. Come to Prince George's County. We're going to work on the education part, and you can work on the redevelopment and buying a big house. Right here. So Kathy, tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
I can be reached by my website, agentkathy.com, and my telephone number is 703-969-1691. And you can email me at kathy@kathyb.net. I'm also on social media as Agent Kathy EXP on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, she's on TikTok. I'm not. Will not be, but I'm on Instagram. So I appreciate you. Thank you for watching and listening to the Alert Factor. I am Nancy Allert, and we meet every Wednesday from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we discuss everything real estate. See you next time. I'm Nancy.